Okay, I think we are live. Yep, we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Bayloric Worldwide Television. It's big fight week. So you know what happens now. We got to talk about what's going on in the world of boxing. For those of you who haven't, please hit the subscribe button. We appreciate your support. For those who have subscribed, we're on 7,000 subscribers and growing very, very fast. I'd like to let you know that as well. So thank you all so much. We appreciate your support. For those people who like boxing, and we're going to talk boxing tonight, but for those people who like everything apart from boxing or other than boxing, we've got lots of other things on the channel as well. So check that out as well. Okay, where do we begin? Where are we going to begin? Oh, I think we'll start with some comedy, shall we? Yeah, I think we'll start with some comedy. I think I put the wrong button there. So let's start with some comedy. Okay, we're going to start with some comedy, people. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Quinlan, Ronaldo Quinlan. That's the first thing we're going to talk about because I find, you know, it's interesting. His father fought for the WBO title all those years ago, which wasn't highly recognized back then. I remember Nigel Benn when he went to America and fought, and he ripped up his license, threatened to rip up his license when he knocked out Doug DeWitt to become the WBO champion. But I don't believe I've never been a believer that it's the belt that makes a champion. I believe it's the champion that makes the belt. You could be a guy who's got the most prestigious belt in the world, but if you're making easy touch defenses and fighting guys who are not even the top 20, then, you know, my belief is that that devalues the belt. But if you're a champion that's fighting the best that's around all the time, then it gives the belt a lot more credibility, and of course the ranking and that governing body credibility as well. So back to my point, Quinlan and Eubank Jr. getting into a little bit between the two of them. Nice press conference, pretty boring, no atmosphere whatsoever. But hey, they're starting from scratch and trying to build their way up, so you can't knock the Eubanks for that. Then Christopher Livingston Eubank, or better known as English, takes to the stage, and they ask him some questions. And it was nice to hear that Andre Ward is going to be commentating on Chris Eubank Jr.'s fight. And it's great to hear the ambitious goals that Chris Eubank Sr. has for his son Jr., that they're going to clean up the middleweight division, that they're going to clean up the super middleweight division. And guess what? They're even going to go up to light heavyweight. And guess what else they're going to do, according to Chris Eubank Sr.? Chris Eubank Jr. is going to, the guy that he's invited to come over, who was recognized as pound for pound the best fighter in the world at super middleweight and fought some of the best fighters around and beat them at super middleweight, and now moved up to light heavyweight. And arguably, some people say he lost to Kovalev, others say he won against Kovalev, whatever. But he's the guy who's got the belts at the light heavyweight division at the moment, apart from Adonis Stevenson, of course, and the belt that Mr. Cleverly's got. But he's the main guy people are recognizing at the moment, Andre Ward. Eubanks have invited Andre Ward over, but Chris Eubank Sr.'s got the nerve to sit there and say, oh, well, you know, Eubank Jr. can give away a few pounds, but he would demolish Andre Ward as well. Wait, you lost to Billy Joe Saunders. You fought nobody better than Billy Joe Saunders since then, and somehow you're going to jump from middleweight up to light heavyweight and put a whooping on Andre Ward. All right, Chris. So it's stuff like that which sets Junior up for failure every time. It doesn't help, because if he doesn't deliver, if Junior doesn't deliver, then those things are going to be like I would rather him then say, look, they want to unify, they want to be the best, they want to be recognized as the best. That's fine. But when you're calling over pound for pound, when the top three, Andre Ward over, unbeaten, okay, and you calling him over to do the commentary, that's complimentary. That's one thing. But then when you're talking about you're going to demolish him, man, I know it's compliment. I know you got to have confidence in what you're doing. You got to believe in yourself and not believe no man's going to beat you. But there's that, and there's statements like that. So I can't take some of that very seriously. But I guess there'll be fight fans that will listen to that and take that in. So great. Let's move on. What's the next point we're going to talk about? Let's talk about, it's Friday night and I'm really in an absolute really chill zone tonight. So forgive me if I'm a little slower, just completely chilled in a good space here, troll free and enjoying it. So let's go on. I'm going to go about some minor things first and then hit the major things as people start rolling into room as they do on a Friday night. Oscar De La Hoya, the golden boy. Things are not looking very good for the golden boy at the moment. Well, the golden boy, I think it was in December, late December, where his wife, Millie, it could be the end of their marriage. And if anybody who's married or has been married or is married or in a good relationship will understand the strength that being together brings, and often for a man, his wife is his rock. And for Oscar De La Hoya, who's been through so much drug abuse and alleged cheating and all the rest of it and the cross-dressing, well, for Oscar, it gets worse. Not only do you lose a court case to Al Heyman, but you get caught drinking and driving and arrested for that. It's all pretty downhill for De La Hoya. And then caught in a bar, drunk, talking about, now I'm single. So it doesn't really look good for the golden boy. And it's just, it's like a slippery road just going down. Richard Schaefer doing his own thing now. I don't know what Bernard Hopkins is going to do with that situation as well. The emails going back and forth about Al Heyman and, you know, calling him scum and all the rest of it, and all the racism between the two parties, between Oscar De La Hoya and whoever the email was being sent back and forth from. That stuff, I don't know where Bernard Hopkins sits in all of this. I mean, Bernard Hopkins is not any saint. Him saying he'd never get beat by a white boy and calling people common and him being special. Well, it's interesting to see where Bernard Hopkins really is going to stand on this situation and whether he's going to stay with Oscar De La Hoya as Oscar continues to slide down. I tell you what was even worse. I saw an interview late last year. Oscar De La Hoya did an interview. The poor guy was drunk doing the interview, talking about Canelo. And it's just not good. Oscar De La Hoya was one of my favorite fighters. Listen, Oscar De La Hoya, I've got tapes, packs of tapes of Oscar, or CDs, in fact, of Oscar De La Hoya fighting. From his first fight to his last fight, sent off stacks of CDs of Oscar De La Hoya fighting. Loved him when I used to box. That was the guy to look at. You like Oscar for hand speed, where he used to put his punches together real nice. I liked Oscar. I mean, of course, Roy Jones and other fighters, but I liked Oscar. There was something about Oscar I enjoyed. Him being in fights with Trinidad, he lost. Him fighting against Mosley and lost. He seemed Oscar in a really big fight seemed to lose. But anyway, big Oscar De La Hoya fan. The fight, and the biggest fight for me at the time was I was in America at the time. De La Hoya for Fernando Vargas. That fight, could feel the tension in Vegas, in Los Angeles, between De La Hoya and Vargas. A real grudge match, real genuine grudge match, which stemmed back from years. So that was a big fight that I enjoyed with Oscar De La Hoya in it. Of course, he got done by Bernard, who ends up being his partner in boxing in the future. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Oscar De La Hoya thing. I don't know where Golden Boy is going to go with this. Al Heyman, I believe, gave them 100 million, wanting to buy them out. Oscar probably would have been in his best interest to have sold Golden Boy then. As for Canelo, you kind of wonder with him what happens next. He's got the fight coming up with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who's on weight at the moment. Will he stay on point and on weight for this big fight against Canelo? We'll have to wait and see. According to Billy Joe Saunders, which we'll come on to next, he says that if Junior comes in overweight, every pound he's overweight, it's $1 million. So let's hope Junior stays on weight, and I hope that's motivation for Junior to fight and put on the best fight of his career. I believe there's always a great fight inside of a fighter, and you can't say Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has taken a lot of beatings in the ring. You can't say that, but what you can say, he's not been dedicated. And I've never been a fan of fighters who are not dedicated in their career suddenly being dedicated for one fight. A lot of bad habits come into that. Let's see what he can do. I'm expecting a great fight, but after about 6-7 rounds, we're going to see what Junior's got left in the tank. And him getting on the scales is key. Him on the scales is going to tell us where this fight's going to be. So we're here with that. Stephen, Max in the room. Speed jab. Is Saunders fighting Golovkin? Hi, Ingram. So let's give the people in the room a round of applause. Welcome to you both. Okay, let's talk about this Billy Joe Saunders thing. I couldn't believe for the life of me when he was talking in the interview recently that they just didn't get it. Billy Joe Saunders rumored to be fighting Gennady Golovkin in Kazakhstan after the Jacobs fight. That's the rumor that's going around. So I want to know. I haven't looked at any interviews with Billy Joe Saunders of late, but I want to know why he split from his previous trainer and why he's gone with Adam Booth. But when you look at Adam Booth and his style, Adam Booth doesn't bode very well in terms of strategy. He gave the wrong strategy for Andy Lee when he fought Billy Joe Saunders. He gave the wrong strategy for Mike Perez when he was fighting against Bryant Jennings. He's given the wrong strategy for a few fights. And think about the strategy he gave David Haye when he fought Vladimir Klitschko. What? A wing and a hope and a prayer for overhand right. If you don't hit with the overhand right, then run around the ring for 12 rounds. So when you talk about strategy, I'm not sure what Adam Booth's strategy. I don't know if strategy is going to help. When it goes to him with Adam Booth, yes, Adam Booth is a guy that teaches you to hit and not get hit, the sniper style. But Billy Joe Saunders, basically, he's got his own style, has he not? And I mean, I don't know of recent years. Adam Booth's got a good team coming together, but I don't know. I'm not. When I first thought about Adam Booth and Billy Joe Saunders, like, yeah, what a great combination. Now I'm not so sure, because in big fights, world title, world class fights, it just hasn't cut the mustard. Another guy who doesn't cut the mustard strategically. I'm not talking at British level. I'm talking at world level, at high class level, which is where Billy Joe Saunders is going next. Is Joe Gallagher. He doesn't cut it either at world level. So the rumors are that Billy Joe Saunders is in a caravan outside of Adam Booth's gym. The caravan thing, you know, that's not of no surprise because of Billy Joe Saunders' heritage, and he's, you know, it doesn't make any. He's not ashamed of that. So so he could do that, and that's no biggie. But he's outside. That's dedication. But talking about Golovkin being the next fight, I'd like to know. They're saying that Golovkin is mandatory. I don't know. I thought Canelo was mandatory, but then I don't know who's what. People in the room. Jim Wilson. Let's give old Jim a round of applause. Welcome to the room, Jim. Nice to see you in the room. Jim says, hello. WB have ordered Saunders to face his mandatory Kazakhstan So the only fight to override that is Golovkin, isn't it? Kazakhstan have expose 2017 in June. Yes, bless up England, bless up to you, Jim. Yes, there is a mandatory that Billy Joe Saunders has, but he's not, because Kazakhstan is not world known. So I would say it's a Gennady Golovkin in Kazakhstan, and he's already got a big fight in his hands, which is Danny Jacobs. Bumblebee Psychopath. Welcome to the room. The name does sound a bit daunting, but we'll still give you a round of applause. Okay, so he's saying it's official. So if it's official, then it's only a matter of time. But we look forward to seeing that fight happen. But before that happens, Danny Jacobs, he's got a little matter of Danny Jacobs. And you've got to say that on the subject of Danny Jacobs and Gennady Golovkin, this is Gennady Golovkin's best fight to date, bar none. Legit middleweight, carries punching power, world champion himself. One thing people will say is that Jacobs does go down, but he does get up as well. He's getting help from Chris Algieri. He's training with guys, Eastern European fighters, which is a good thing for him. So kudos to him for that. So we'll see how that fight goes. Jacobs is down the road with Gennady Golovkin, so we won't focus on that. Okay, what's next? Huey Fury. Let's talk about that. Huey Fury and Joseph Parker. Now, interesting news. Joseph Parker is saying that he's disappointed that the fight has gone to purse bids, which basically means before it goes to purse bids, they're hoping a fight deal can be done. I love Huey Fury. I was one of the first people to cover him when he turned pro, and that interview's on this channel, by the way. Love Huey Fury. I think he's got skills galore. I think he's got great jab, good boxing ability, good upper body movement. But in all those things I've said about about Huey Fury, Billy Joe Saunders, all those things I've said about Huey Fury, I don't want to be biased here, and I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to stand and make a stand here and say, listen, he's got all these abilities, but he's not put on a highly polished performance and not being ill in the process. And I hate for him to fight in a top level fight and illness be the reason why he doesn't win a world title. I keep saying it, I will say it again, I would like to see Huey Fury fight a warm-up fight with somebody in the top 20. Let's see him get a win first there and then go for the world title. The last fight he had against Froch, Peter Fury's father was in the corner bellowing at him to hold it together when he wasn't well. He couldn't get it together. Now, if you can't get it together against Joseph Parker, if for any reason he's ill or that illness comes back against Joseph Parker, there's problems. Now, I don't know Huey Fury mentally, because he's not been in enough fights testing to test that mental strength. But if the illness is affected by stress, if the illness is affected by like there are some illnesses that are stress related and they can cause you to flare up. I myself have been a sufferer of chronic fatigue syndrome in the past, so I understand about stress related illnesses very much. 7 years and overcame it without tablets, so I understand what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking off the cuff here. And if it's stress related, now you're not going to know that if you've not been under any stress. Huey Fury, to all due respect, hasn't been in the ring recently, and he's been doing and getting on with his business. And I think Peter's a world-class trainer, and I think he's a top man and a mentor and all the rest of it. But are they too in a hurry to try and get a world title because Tyson's out of the picture at the moment? I don't know. Yes, I know it's time for Huey to step up, of course. But as a fan, as I said, I'd like to see Huey stepping up, having a fight, and then getting a world title fight then. Didn't happen. It's not happening. He's going to go and fight for a world title fight. So question marks about his heart. There's no question marks about his chin, according to people in around the sport. Says he takes a great shot, but don't want to see him get hit in the chin too often. What is he like when he's in a real tough fight? Parker's on the high at the moment. Parker's the guy who's got the momentum. Parker's the guy who's just come off a win against Andy Ruiz. Parker's the guy who's got the momentum. Huey Fury is kind of like a Ferrari or a Mercedes Benz that's looks prestigious, great car, but splutters and splutters and splutters, starts and stops. I mean, if he can win this fight, and it would be a masterstroke by Peter Fury if he wins the fight against Parker. But stepping up and the illness as well, you know, those things he's had, and you don't know how good you are until you're back in the ring. And what a way to try and find out if you're 100% on all cylinders in a world title shot, potentially, maybe not even at home, maybe away. So let's see what people are saying. Jim Wilson, I want to see Golovkin Saunders for all the belts. Then Canelo, Ring Magazine for Golovkin's ABC belts. I agree with that. I think it will be a war. Golovkin style actually plays into Canelo's counterpunch, and I think Golovkin will stop him late in a competitive fight. He was getting caught by some big right hands in a Cassie fight. I agree, and that is something that I had concerns about, and I didn't like how Hugh was reacting to that on a mental or on a gut check. Those things I didn't like what I was seeing. Just being honest, I didn't like those things. Those things concern me, and I don't know if because the blood was in his eye. I don't know if because he was running on an empty, and a lot of Fury fans might not like what I'm saying here, but I'm just trying to be honest and say open and say, look, I like the fight he's fighting for a world title. I like the fact he's stepping up, but he's young. So well, one moment he's young, next minute he's stepping up. Okay, but where's the kind of like the graduation night where he can say, yeah, even Tyson, look at Tyson. He had a graduation night. He built himself up and then fought for a world title. You can't say Huey's done that. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Is he healthy now? According to Peter Fury and Camp Team Fury, he's healthy. But you don't know until you're in the firing, in the melting pot, where if that flares up again, and it was a mental thing, and it was stress related, then they're in trouble. I don't like it. So I'd like to see him in a melting pot in a less dangerous fight to see if it's all cleared, let him win a fight impressively, and go into that fight of Parker with momentum. He's not going to the fight with momentum, and that's a concern. Jim Wilson says, I don't think Tyson is returning, sadly. Well, we'll have to wait and see on that one, won't we? Let's move on. Next subject. Shall we move on to the next subject, people? There's so many things to talk about. Yeah, next subject. There's a few of them here. Kell Brook versus Amir Khan. More news. Breaking news almost. Dennis Hobson from Hobson Promotions has some insight into why. Thank you. Has some insight as to why the fight between Brook and Khan has broken down in negotiations. So let's hear what Dennis Hobson's got to say about this, and you can check this out by going to www.dennishobson.com. These are directly Dennis Hobson's thoughts, not what I've put into Dennis Hobson's mouth. Check it out on the website itself. This is what Dennis Hobson says. He says, Khan against Brook is a fight I really want to see because I'm a big fight fan, and it would be great for British boxing. Hobson explained, who's alongside Assi Valley, is working with American fight figure Al Heyman in guiding Amir. So basically, Hobson and Assi Valley are working on the British side of things to guide Amir Khan, where Al Heyman does the American side of things, the advisor, as you've heard many times. Amir in my opinion, is a much bigger draw than Kell. And I base that on the fact that Khan has been fighting in elite company for a while now. But I'm sure Kell will get there too. We believe we can make the fight work with Eddie Hearn and Kell, and in the process, Kell will make a guaranteed career best purse. Check this out. The obstacle we have is that Terry, Kell's father and manager, is hung up on percentages, which has many legal and contractual complications. I'm hopeful that we will get through. But we will get there though, and if the fight does happen, then the big winner will be the fans. So, according to Dennis Hobson, and Dennis Hobson is a guy that doesn't mince his words. Dennis Hobson is a guy that doesn't mess about. Dennis Hobson's a straight shooter. So, if it's down to the fact that Kell Brook's dad and his manager are talking about percentages, and he says it's a bit complicated, then that's the hold up in the fight now. Both guys probably want the fight. But it's down to percentages. Can you get any more interviews with Big Vern, dude? He's hilarious. Well, yeah, there is an interview I've got sitting on my phone. I'm trying to work the quality on it because Big Vern at this minute in time is still technologically challenged, is the word, but we're working on it. I've got another person in the room. Not surprised, MFZK. Let's give him or her a round of applause. Welcome. Actually, because you're actually entering the room, really, I should do a ding dong, shouldn't I? Have I got a ding dong? Yeah, ding dong. There you go. This is a ding dong. Right. Making most of these effects at the moment because April the 25th, they're dead. Literally, Google will no longer be having these effects. Okay, he says Brook wanted share of revenue for that video. Okay. Jim Wilson, Brook, I think, should accept the 70-30 split. No one knows who he's outside of boxing, but he definitely knocks Khan out. Khan is selling his chin to the highest bidder. Not surprised, turns out, says, haha, Jim Whiskers. Khan is making a wanker of himself. Very funny. And by the way, Brook is ducking Spence. LOL. The king of mandatories can face Yo-Yo damn busy here, but not Spence. LOL. I've said that. I've said that 1,001 times. Khan is a deluded dude. Every fighter will avoid one another for reasons at some stage of the career. Not surprised, says he continues to say Kardashian don't want fight. Well, you could say Kardashian doesn't want the Brook fight, and Brook doesn't want the Spence fight. So you could say what you want there. They both don't seem to want that. I just think it's one of these fights that's got to happen. Almost like, it's probably not a lesser sense, but Junior Witter versus Hatton. That would have been a fight. I'd love to have seen how that fight would have turned out. The other fight I'd love to have seen was on a smaller note, Ryan Rhodes versus Anthony Small. If you ever get to see the press conference and that, absolutely hilarious press conference. Like, really hilarious. Yeah. So, right. Khan is at the end of his career. He won't be winning against elite competition, says Jim Wilson. Khan has problems with Chris Algieri, for fuck's sake, says Chris Algieri. I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. He did have problems against Chris Algieri and rocked him in the first round. Imagine that was Brook hitting him with the right hand. Spence is avoided like Khabib in the UFC. I don't know who Khabib is in the UFC, but that means he's avoided, I guess. Right. Let's move on to the next subject. So we've done Brook and Khan. We've got the big fights to talk about as well. Anybody else I've got to mention here? Ah! I have an exclusive. Well, I think. Now, this is exclusive. You've got to do this right. So it's an exclusive. So story is that the training that Mr. Carl Frampton's been doing, not Carl Froch. Carl Froch has been training. See, he's been running and doing all his lifting stuff. Carl Froch is actually going to be taking part in some form of a strongman competition. You heard it here. Carl Froch is taking part in a strongman competition, a strongman or toughest man, something like that. So stay tuned to see Carl Froch in some tough man competition. Yeah. So there's your exclusive. You heard it here. Okay, moving on. Next subject. Let's move on to it. Next subject. Wilder versus Washington. Is this fight actually going to happen? Because I talked about it and I said, no, don't tell me it's going to happen. No, 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 no. 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 Absolutely no. Did I not mention that Washington would be a possibility? Did I not mention that Washington would be a possibility in my last live show? That is ominous. It's not good for Washington. Listen to me. Right? Washington is terrible. Go back and watch Eddie Chambers fight. Washington is terrible. He's got no form of defense. He'll get blasted out 4 or 5 rounds by Deontay Wilder. I'm telling you. Washington is just a tall basketball player. Washington's going to get blasted out of there. I'm telling you. What does he bring to the table? He's unbeaten. But he's going to get destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. Well, okay. Somebody says, when is Wilder going to face top 10 opposition? All right. Well, I've got some really bad news for you, Jim. Really bad news for you. Because I said the same thing too. And then I had to basically a little advertisement there for Evian, which actually is the best water drink in the world, they say. Sorry about that. Drink break. Which actually, he's fought 3 or 4 top WBC fighters. He's beaten Duhaupas, who is in the top 5 or top 10. He's beaten Svilka, who's in the top 10. And he's beaten Stiverne, who's in the top 10. So really, he's beaten 3 of the top 10 guys in WBC rankings. If you don't believe me, go check it out. Right. But Porter v. Berto is apparently done for April. But who the hell wants to see that? But anyway. Changed my name to a real one. Noble Cornflower. Well, let's we'll give you the ding dong for that. Let's try again. I know he doesn't like him. But anyway, Noble Cornflower's in the room. I think him or David Haye beat Anthony Joshua. Hey, listen, don't sleep on the Klitschko fight. I'll tell you something else while we're on the Anthony Joshua Klitschko fight. David Haye has been opening up his big gob again in big fight time. Let me tell you something about David Haye and big fights. David Haye, when he predicts you're going to win a fight, you get sensationally smashed. Go and look at David Haye's predictions previously. If I were a fighter, I'd tell David Haye personally, don't talk about my fights. Because every time David Haye talks about a fight, the fighter gets smashed to bits. Okay? So don't look at David Haye for a prediction, honestly. Jim Wilson says, I mean, university recognized top 10. Stiverne was his best. I agree. But if you look at the WBC rankings and he's the champion, he's beaten 3 top 10 opponents. That, when you look at it, don't sound too bad. When you look at the opposition in terms of who they actually are, it don't look so great. I agree. But, you know. David Fella's got to get past Bellew, no walkover. You don't think it's a walkover? I think it's a bloody walkover. See, the reason why I think that fight's a walkover is very simple. Tony Bellew doesn't know how to block a right hand. He didn't know how to block a right hand against Orville McKenzie. That's why his ass got dropped. He stepped up in weight and got his ass dropped again. When he moved up to cruiserweight, he got dropped in the first round by Makabu. He got hit by left and right hands by Stevenson. If Stevenson nails him with a left hand like that, and you saw what happened to Bellew, right? Then you saw Makabu, and Bellew was weighing 14.5 stone, near 15 stone that night, and he still felt rolled over like a sack of shit, right? And you guys out there believe that it's not a walkover? Listen. As soon as David nails him with the right hand, this fight's going to end similar to the Enzo Macronelli fight. The only way Bellew's got a chance in this fight is if he goes late. Then, I don't know, Bellew must have a chin transplant by then, because he's going to get nailed with a right hand and that fight is over. I'm telling you, inside 3. Don't see it going any further than that, because Bellew's going to have to... Look, he was even getting right hand by Blowjob Flores. I mean, BJ Flores. He's getting caught with right hands then. Imagine if David Haye nailing with them right hands. Sorry. Where does the winner of Frampton Cruz go? Both have accomplished so much more in the sport. I'll tell you what happens. Frampton fights Selby in Belfast. That's what happens. Can't you see? It's so obvious. Selby and Frampton fighting on the same card. Are they fighting the same card on the same night? I'm sure they are. Are they not? I'm sure they are. Aren't they fighting the same card on the same night? But Selby and Frampton are fighting either the same card, the same week, or they're fighting. I don't know, but they're fighting. And I can see Lee Selby versus Frampton next on the cards. Bellew gets stopped in a round. LOL. First punch. Everyone but you. I don't get it. A speed jab. What is speed jab saying? Speed jab. What are you saying? Speed jab. I don't understand. What are my thoughts on? Bellew gets stopped in a round. LOL. First punch. Everyone but you. Jim Wilson says Bellew ain't got a chance, barring a freak accident, i.e. Glasgow. That's what I say. Not surprised. Come on, Jim. It'll go 6 rounds. Mark my words. The only reason it'll go 6 rounds is David Haye's carried Tony Bellew 6 rounds. They shouldn't be in the ring together. It just shouldn't be happening. My boy, Izu fights Dominic Brazil. Well, I'll tell you something. That's an interesting fight, because we're going to find out about Izu. We'll find out, first of all, how hard he hits. And then you'll be able to compare how good he is compared to Anthony Joshua, because that's a natural comparison. I think this is a good fight for Izu. He's coming out of the shadows now of someone like Joseph Parker. I think it's a good fight. Dominic Brazil carries a good chin. We saw that against Anthony Joshua. He does move in treacle. I mean, but he was making Anthony Joshua miss. Wasn't able to make him pay. I think this fight is a good fight for Izu. And I'm looking for Izu to win this fight by knockout. I really am. Guy looks like a brutal puncher. It's a mouth-watering fight. What's a mouth-watering fight? It's a mouth-watering 50-50 fight between David Haye and Tony Bellew. You liars, Sky. You blasted liars. You're only saying that for pay-per-view, and you wait and see. They're going to sit down and tell you how they can see how Tony could win the fight. Just to keep you in. Just to keep you in. Johnny Nelson, Johnny Nelson will come say, I can see how Belly could win this fight. You know, David hasn't fought a good competitive fight for a few years now, and if Belly's been on, Belly's on the run, good run at the moment, and you know, that's how they'll sell the fight to you. Mark my words. I'll use the mark my words. My words. Sky do the same crap all the time. You see people like ITV, good commentary team. You watch. ITV will be going places, so they keep the commentary team. I can't work out which is worse, Brook versus GGG or Belly versus Haye. Belly versus Haye, because you've seen Belly get starched in a lower weight division. You haven't seen Brook get starched in a lower weight division. You saw Belly get starched at light heavyweight. All right. You seen him get dropped at cruiserweight, and now you're going to see him get destroyed at heavyweight. I don't care how much weight he puts on. He's got slow feet. He's got slow hands, right? Macabre hadn't fought for a year. Okay? And Belly was weighing over 14.5 stone. He was near 15 stone as a heavyweight and still got dropped. If David had hit him with that right hand, the same punch that Belly got hit with, what would happen? I'll switch over to Playboy if, when Brazil fights, he's an embarrassment. Let me tell you something. I want to see Brazil fight Izzy, because I rate Izzy. I think he's a good fighter, but then we'll wait and see. Haye is a former cruiserweight. The joke is that Eubank versus that nobody. I would love for Quinlan to put on a great fight. I really would. Eubank's got to put on a tremendous performance against Quinlan. I'm telling you now, because if he doesn't, it's not going to bode well. Like I said earlier, I'll crack the joke again for those people who are just coming into the room. Oh, we've got a new person in the room. We've got a guy, Boxing Rant Britain. Let's give you a round of applause for coming in the room, my friend. Thank you for joining the show. Belly power is well overrated. Absolutely agree with you there. Absolutely agree that Tony Belly's punch power is overrated, and he takes for hours. His left hook is pretty decent. That right hand, when he throws that right hand, you can make a cup of tea and come back, and he'll still miss you with that right hand. Belly's got a bad habit when he throws the right hand of missing with it. He can't afford to do that. Tom Loeffler says there's no truth to the Golovkin-Saunders rumor, though, on boxing scene. Tom Loeffler says a lot of things. I don't think they want to really be hyping that up, but it's probably not great PR-wise for that to be coming out in the open, because they've got the Jacobs fight. They don't want to be distracting Saunders, Golovkin. So I think they'll keep that quiet. But trust me, I'll talk to Abel Sanchez. You know me. I'll talk to Abel, and I'll get to the bottom of the story. Trust me. Not surprised says, if you've got the heart of Belly, if you have got the heart Belly has, anything can happen. When you got a heart like Tony Bellew, all that happens is that you get hit repeatedly. Belly's not got faster hands than Haye. Belly's not got better footwork than Haye. Belly doesn't move around the ring better than David Haye. Belly probably has traditionally better boxing skill than David Haye, meaning that traditionally he throws a jab, the right hand, the uppercut, the hooks. He throws them traditionally better than David Haye. Better, well-schooled fighter. David Haye, you never hear about David Haye dominate a fight behind a left jab. You're more likely to see Belly working behind a left jab. Although, with under Shane McGuigan, I think Shane McGuigan is going to add something to David Haye that Adam Booth couldn't. We'll leave it as that. How about Mr. Saunders discussion and Brook Khan? Yep, I did mention earlier on about Brook Khan. It was a breaking news regarding Brook and Khan. I mentioned that it's Kell Brook's dad and manager Terry that's holding up the fight, simply because of I think it's percentages. So he's saying it's a bit complicated and legal and all the rest of it. So basically, his dad, Kell Brook's dad's holding up the fight. As for Saunders' discussion, we're just talking about that. Burns versus Indogo unification. LOL. What you think? Well, Indogo knocked at that guy, that Russian guy, the highly rated Russian guy, real quick. So, what can you say? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you about the fight apart from I hope the real Ricky Burns turns up. As Jim would say. That's all I can say about that. I hope the winner gets sacrificed for Crawford as he holds all 4 belts. By the way, if you want to find out more about Terence Crawford, check out on this channel our interview with Terence Crawford before he fought Ricky Burns. Before anybody started jumping in the bandwagon about Terence Crawford, check out our interview with Terence Crawford. Got 2 interviews there, exclusive to Bayloric Worldwide Television. This was the original channel. This is before we went and started our boxing channel. Check it out on this channel. It's here. Canelo will take the GGG fight, in my opinion, later this year. Had a lot of stick for ducking. Okay. Huck versus Breedis in April for WBC interim cruiserweight title. Does Huck have it to come back? Are we going to see a new super dangerous cruiserweight champion? I'm going Marius Breedis for this, to be honest. I think Huck's finished, personally. Right, there you go. Thoughts on BT Sport unveiling? Wasn't impressed. Well, I think competition is good. I think for too long, Eddie Hearn has been able to get away with feeding us crap. So I'm really happy. Competition is good and healthy. BT will make Hearn, put pressure on Hearn, and with Frank Warren and Box Nation, I'm really happy about that. I'm so delighted for Frank Warren. Competition-wise, it gives opportunity for other fighters to get on as well and get TV dates. So fantastic. Everyone doesn't have to go now to Eddie Hearn. Fabulous. All roads don't lead to Eddie Hearn, and I think that's fantastic news, and I'm delighted to hear it. So I'm happy with Frank. And although with ITV, we need to look at that situation there, because I think the head of Matchroom also is transferred over to ITV. So I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie Hearn had some dealings with ITV at some point in time. So there's that. And also, yeah, I think it's good news. And then you got Spike TV, Channel 5. So I'm happy. I'm good. TV back on terrestrial television is brilliant. Fantastic. That's all my thoughts on that. I mean, Big Fight Live. It was so sad. Again, on this channel, check out my interview with Jim Rosenthal. That was at the Chisora Fury 2 fight, and I get on well with Jim Rosenthal. So I got an interview with him. Listen to Jim Rosenthal and his thoughts on ITV before they came back onto big time boxing, and he was devastated that big time boxing was on ITV. So now it's back on ITV. I'm so happy. I really am happy, and he'll be happy too. Agree, not surprised with Oscar's company in turmoil. It's now or never, says Box Rant Britain. Okay. Jim Wilson, Frank needs better promotion, in my opinion. He needs to get with the times, in my opinion. Get rid of those drinking buddies, Blunts and Lilies. They sound too stale, more young. I made this point a long time ago to those that were in control and in power. They need just stick a tenner on pricey. That's all you got to do. You stick a tenner on pricey. I mean, I don't know, I don't know. I mean, I'll see the fight. I'm not sure. Don't get me wrong. I like Steve Lillis, and well, Steve Bunce is an acquired taste. Let's put it like that. But hey, somebody say the same about me. But I think they need to have a younger, more in touch audience, a diverse audience, I would say as well. And they need that in Box Nation. I think that's what's missing. But Barry Jones does a great job, my old gym mate, and John Rawling. What a great voice for boxing, John Rawling. Great man. Love John Rawling. And John, if you're listening at this point in time, shout out to John Rawling and Barry Jones. They need to improve their production, says Adam Scott. Their production looks what Ultratech said. Sky is KFC and Box Nation is £1 chip shop. Hey, listen, my boy Ultra Sports. listen, let me give him a shout. Ultra Sports, man. I listen to your stuff and you make me laugh. And I would love to have you on this show for 2017. You're a great man. Give you a round of applause for that. And you definitely can be plenty of this. So definitely, Ultra Sports is the man. I love listening to Ultra Sports. So funny. So funny. Just tells it like it is. And that's how I love it. Who's your money on the undercard Mikey Garcia and the Montenegro guy? Zlatan. Okay, let's get into it, people. We'll talk about that now. Zlatan. Let's talk about the fight. Mikey Garcia. I did my keys to victory about this fight. But we'll do the keys to victory, and then I'll give you my breakdown, and I'll tell you who I think wins the fight. But the keys to victory. Things I see about Danny Garcia. Well, he's back after a long layoff. I wasn't impressed with his comeback fight against that guy who shouldn't have even been in the ring with him. Who was it was just an exhibition fight. I mean, Mikey Garcia would have probably faced better guys in sparring than that guy he had on the night. But good to see Mikey back in the ring, so you can't be too critical. I mean, I didn't want him to come back against a killer, but he's in a ring against a guy who could potentially be a killer on the night. So let's talk about it. I haven't got to Thurman Garcia yet. I'm just talking now. I'm talking about the big fights now. So bear with me. We'll talk about that tonight as well. Now, Mikey Garcia, what I see of him, he's a good all-round, good all-action fighter. I'm not sure about Mikey Garcia on the back foot. I'm not sure about Mikey Garcia's heart, gut check. He does keep his hands up. Both guys keep their hands up. But Mikey Garcia, when he keeps his hands up, he still gets hit. And he's got that Robert Garcia thing that they don't move their head. Garcia fighters generally don't move their head. So think what you want of that. So he can be caught. And Garcia has a very bad habit. You watch Mikey Garcia, when he backs up from punches, he pulls his hands down. He leaves his chin in the air. Watch him carefully. But he's got his hands there. He pulls back, puts his hands down, puts his head back like this. Okay, so that's something that, but because he's got longer reach, he can probably get away with that. If someone like Zlatan can step inside and throw the left hand over the top, which is his best punch, that left hand over the top, it's problems. Mikey Garcia in this fight he's got to stay off the ropes. He's got to keep the fight at distance because he's the much taller guy and he's got longer reach. So he's got to keep the fight at center of the ring and at distance. He cannot afford Zlatan to get on the inside. He's got the longer arms and he's got a nice remedy for the southpaw, which is that nice straight right hand. Good remedy for the left-hander against the southpaw, straight right hand, down the pipe and the left hook. Those are the two shots he's got there against the southpaw, and he has fought against southpaws in the past. Interesting to see how he does in this new weight division. Zlatan has been at the weight division a lot longer, so sometimes it takes time for guys to get used to a new weight division. Coming off an X amount of time layoff, had a kind of meaningless fight. Now he's in a real fight against a guy who doesn't know how to lose, and they're the most dangerous guys to fight. Zlatan, on the other hand, Dejan Zlatan keeps his hands up nice and tight as well. He at 5'4", when you talk about head movement, because he's short and stocky. Oh, my tooth hurt me. I don't know why. Let me just, sorry a second. Forgive me. Ouch. Must have bit something earlier. Zlatan, because he's short of 5'4", he's almost got, he has to fight only one way. He can't box from distance and use the jab. He's going to have to use the Mike Tyson process, which is get inside, get under Mikey Garcia's punches, and throw his own. Zlatan is, and people might not see it about him, what he does is when Zlatan throws his punches, Zlatan throws his punches in between your own punches. So Zlatan's the kind of guy that lets you throw your fire, and then as you're throwing your fire, he comes over the top, which is a dangerous place for Mikey Garcia to be. And Mikey Garcia already leaves openings. You saw in the last fight he had, he gets nailed with right hands. He doesn't want to be getting nailed by Dejan whatsoever, because this guy has the power to put him in his pants. So Dejan's going to just get in close and just rough Danny Garcia. I keep saying Danny Garcia. He's going to rough Mikey Garcia up, keep him against the ropes and rough him up. And don't give him any leverage to land them shots. For Mikey Garcia, I got it right this time. For Mikey Garcia, the uppercut's another key punch. Zlatan is vulnerable to the uppercut. He's vulnerable to the uppercut, but as of yet, he seems to have shown he's got a good chin. So we're going to see how the fight goes. For me, this is a real tough fight. It's who can stick. And I know it's all cliche, but who can stick to their game plan. For Mikey Garcia, he's moving up in weight. He's fighting a killer. He's fighting a guy that's going to hit him back, who punches hard. Both guys are coming in there to win. The layoff for me. Richard Schaefer said he wouldn't have taken Mikey Garcia into this fight. And Richard Schaefer is not a guy that likes to pipe up. So I don't know if Richard Schaefer is he's just trying to sell the fight, or he's actually trying to tell us something. I went back and looked at the Salido fight where Mikey Garcia damaged his nose. And Mikey Garcia, I don't know if he's one of these guys. You know, you've got these guys that are big for the weight, or big for the weights that they're in. But when they move up against guys who are the same size as them or can take their power, that they don't look so good. And Mikey Garcia's last fight, that guy, that I call him the malnutrition fighter. He knocked down about 5 times. He knocked the guy down 5 times. The guy didn't knock the guy out cold, right? So that's, and Mikey Garcia's sorry, he's big puncher. I've seen him knock guys out. I've seen Zlatan lay guy out as well. So is he that big a puncher, Mikey Garcia, against a guy who's a natural lightweight? There's a difference between knocking guys out of lower weight divisions. Does the power carry up against a guy at 5'4"? Now you're not punching up, you're punching down. When you're punching down, the stinging punches are not the same. Will he be able to nail Zlatan the same way? And of course, Mikey Garcia, if he gets touched early by Zlatan, it might be a different fight altogether. The betting favorite is Mikey Garcia. He's a favorite because a lot of people know about Mikey Garcia, but they don't know about Zlatan. But if anybody wants to know about Zlatan, ask Ricky Burns. Go watch that first round with Ricky Burns. Ricky Burns comes out as he does, doing his thing, boom, on his ass. Zlatan can punch, all right? And he's been punching at the lightweight division for a while. Mikey Garcia seems... He's the guy who's got it all to lose in this fight. Okay? This will be an upset win if Zlatan won it. And if Mikey Garcia wins it, he's expected to win it. Do you understand? So this fight is for Mikey Garcia to lose and Dejan to win. That's how I look at the fight. Oh, you haven't missed much. We're only just doing the breakdown now. Oh, we've got some people in the room, so I've got to give them a shout out. Adam Scott in the room. I don't know if I shouted you out earlier, Adam, but I'm going to give you a shout out now. Welcome to the room. Big fight talk only. Shout out to you as well. And there's someone else in the room. Call 2971 2971. Give you a shout out as well. Good to see you in the room again, my friend. Okay, so where were we? I've got to stay with this first situation with Mikey Garcia and Zlatan. So I want to see Zlatan for me. If I was Zlatan's trainer, I'd say, you know what? Get past the first 6 with Mikey Garcia and then come on strong in the last 6. Right? Come on strong in the last 6. Work his body and get in close. Slow him down. Get on the inside. And punch when Garcia's punching. Seriously, punch when Garcia's got the length. I agree. And he will get to Zlatan first. But Zlatan, you've got to watch that left hand that comes over the top. And Garcia's primed for that left hand over the top. He's primed for it because he's a guy, first of all, pulls back from punches, straight back from punches. And the second thing he does is, even though he's got his hands up, he still gets nailed clean. And he's one of these guys that when they get nailed clean, they don't make adjustments. That Mikey Garcia doesn't make adjustments on the fly. He's not one of these guys that, oh, I got hit with a shot, let me make the change. No, he's one of these guys that gets hit with a shot, goes, all right, fine, fair enough, I got you the right hand. Doesn't matter. I didn't go over, so I'll keep throwing punches. She's got to be very careful against Zlatan. It goes like, for me, it goes like this. If Zlatan were to KO or to beat Mikey Garcia, I wouldn't be surprised. And if Mikey Garcia were to beat Zlatan, I wouldn't be surprised. It's one of those fights. So if I want to call that fight a 50-50 fight, then yeah, I would. I would. But Zlatan is dangerous at short range. I mean, he's not one of these guys that gets short range and then don't know what to do. He gets in short range and he explodes. There's some of these guys who've got short arms and ineffective when they get in close. But this guy, when he gets in close, he's very effective. And like I said, the left hand, when you're throwing your punches, the left hand comes over the top. That's his best punch, his left hand. If Mikey Garcia can avoid the left hand, I think he wins the fight. But if he decides to stay on the ropes, get into a brawl and get macho, he could find himself in the seat of his pants. Yeah, he could. And a lot of fight fans will be very surprised. Not surprised says, haha, you've just put doubts in my head. I was favouring Mikey on this one. Yeah, I'm not saying Mikey Garcia isn't the favourite, but a lot of the people who call him a favourite is because they're not looking at Dejan Zlatan. That's why he's a favourite. Oh, who the hell's Dejan Zlatan? Oh, it's just this guy from around the corner, and oh, don't know who he is. He's a bum because I've never heard him. He's a bum with a belt, but he's the same guy that dropped Ricky Burns. He's the same guy that beat a couple of other touted fighters as well. So Zlatan is a difficult fight. Adam Scott says, cheers. Zlatan will have a difficult job winning a decision. They want Mikey to have this belt. Of course they do. So for me, Zlatakan's got to win this fight by KO. He can't win this fight by points. He's got to win this fight by KO. But for Garcia, as you said, quite rightly there, Adam, I believe that Garcia can win this fight by points or by knockout. So it's all in the favour of Mikey Garcia. Like I said, it's Mikey Garcia's fight to lose. It's Dejan Zlatakan's fight to win. Right, next fight. Oh, I'm going to make a very quick point again about Lee Selby. I'm going to keep on saying it until it comes true. Lee Selby's, you know, I don't like guys. I don't like fighters that leave their chin in the air and pull straight back from punches. It's one of those things that's it's a pet hate in boxing. When a guy leaves his chin in the air, he throws shots, leaves his chin in the air and pulls straight back from punches. Any guy that does that deserves to get clipped with left hooks and get knocked out. Lee Selby is one of those guys. Now, I like Lee Selby. You know, he's a Welshman. When I was about to turn pro, I was in the Valleys. Not in the Valleys. I was in Wales training with Steve Robinson's old trainer. He was my trainer for a long while. And I got a lot of time for Lee Selby. I like him. He's not full of himself. He's just a down-to-earth guy who's got a lot of skills. And he made a point the other day, don't call me the Welsh Mayweather. That's something stupid. One of them Sky commentators that got on the bandwagon and said, oh, he's a Welsh Mayweather. He's a very down-to-earth guy, very humble guy. A lot of time for him. He's a very, very humble guy. I like him, but he's very cocky in the ring, which you need to be. He's got that, but I don't like his flaws. And at the highest level, he's going to get found out. He really is going to get found out. This guy Barros is fighting. It should be, for me, Barros does have KO power. Yes, he does. You look at his box record, he does have KO power. But if you look down his box record as well, he gets beat by guys who are good fighters, very good fighters. He gets beat by Mikey Garcia being one, Gamboa being another. I think Lee Selby wins this fight. The thing with Barros, look from what I saw of him, he's tailor-made for someone like Lee Selby because he's got slow hands and slow feet, and he's going to be looking for Lee Selby all night long. The only problem with Lee Selby, like I said, he pulls straight back from punches, but Barros is not an explosive fighter. He's not a guy that's like a hunter, explosive, short, sharp. He's not one of those type of guys. But Hunter was ill-disciplined. If Hunter was disciplined, he would have got rid of Lee Selby, but he was ill-disciplined. So I just think, in my personal humble opinion, that this Barros fight, he should get rid of Barros. If he doesn't knock Barros out, then he goes to points with him. But I think he beats Barros, honestly. There's nothing in Barros there. He just looks like a, you know, standard Mexican fighter who just walks around the ring and But I just think Lee Selby could just. I tell you who Barros kind of reminds me of. Remember that night that Nas fought that guy? I can't remember what his name was again. He was a Mexican guy. I'm sure it was a Mexican guy, Argentinian guy. He fought. And Nas was dancing and he was doing all this stuff with the guy and jabbed him, hit him 4 or 5 times a jab. This guy Barros is that kind of guy that could showcase and make Lee Selby look like a superstar. In my opinion, if Lee Selby's going anywhere in boxing, he should get rid of Barros. People say it's a dangerous fight. It's a dangerous fight if Lee Selby sticks his chin in the air. Otherwise, I think Lee Selby beats this guy. Okay. Box. Britain says, Mayweather Promotions have to be careful. If Garcia wins via robbery decision, it will put other fighters off fighting them. Yeah, that's true. They do need to be careful. But having said Mayweather Promotions, look at the Jack fight. Who says that Mayweather Promotions? Who says that they want Mayweather Promotions to be a success? Mayweather might be a fighter, but he's not a judge. How much power does he have an influence on the judges? How much power does Mayweather really have in boxing? Not as a fighter, but as a promoter. It's a different story. You're now taking money off other people's plates as a promoter. So it's going to be interesting to see how much power he's got. Apart from the talking bad at future press conferences, have there any other changes been brought forward for Angel the Idiot Garcia? Well, Angel Garcia is a bit of an idiot. Some people have put it aside and said, oh, it's just the way they talk in the community. No, it isn't the way they talk in the community, because when he was talking, he just talked about, he wasn't just calling out Thurman in a derogatory manner. He was talking about illegal immigrants, and he was talking about calling Donald Trump as well. What the hell has Donald Trump got to do with Keith Thurman? He's talking about illegal immigrants and coming into the country, and sorry, he's a downright racist. That's all you can say. But you come out and say one thing like that, and then you talk about other people as well. He's an idiot, absolute idiot. Box Ram Britain says, Uncle Al Ingram, him and May are tight. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that. But Uncle Bashir has been talking about racism in boxing for a while. He was talking about boxing before Mayweather brought it up. But Mayweather obviously is a superstar. He mentioned it as well. But it's there. It's apparent. But okay, so let's talk about the big fight. Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz, the return. Now, what did I make about Frampton? Did I actually make any points about Frampton Santa Cruz? I'm sure I did. Frampton Santa Cruz, the rematch. Santa Cruz was off the mark in this first fight when he fought Frampton. His punches were missing a lot. I don't know, and I keep asking myself the question about Santa Cruz and his father. His father had cancer at the time. So I cannot imagine that Santa Cruz would have been 100% going into that fight. I cannot imagine he would have been. Now, this rematch, Frampton won't be able to cause the surprises that he caused before. Frampton, this is the second time he's fighting at the weight. I expect Frampton to be stronger at the weight this time around because it's his second fight, and probably have a little bit more power on him because he's settled at the weight more. Frampton's beaten Santa Cruz before. He's fighting him again, and he's had a rematch before with Kiko Martinez. The first fight, he knocked Kiko Martinez out. The second fight, he went to points, if I'm correct. I think they're both great fighters, great professionals, great fighters. The talk about Leo Santa Cruz being only one gear and one dimensional, I think it's dangerous to think that. I think it's dangerous for one reason, because if he isn't one dimensional, if Leo Santa Cruz isn't one dimensional, and they've been preparing for the Leo Santa Cruz that fought in the first fight, and that Leo Santa Cruz was distracted because of his father, then that would be a terrible error on Frampton's part. Now, I predicted world stardom for Frampton back in 2000 and 2013, I predicted world stardom for him. And I'm a big Frampton fan, and I respect Leo Santa Cruz. The betting favourite obviously is Frampton because of his performance. I thought Frampton did a marvellous job against Leo Santa Cruz. I actually backed Leo Santa Cruz to beat Carl Frampton because I thought he would outwork him based on what I saw in the quick fight. I thought, well, Leo Santa Cruz, he'll outwork Frampton. He'll grind him down and stop him late. But what did Frampton do? He didn't allow Leo Santa Cruz to get into any sort of rhythm. He didn't allow Santa Cruz to just overwhelm with punches with good movement. Nice, the left hook that he hurt Santa Cruz with, backed up Santa Cruz and he hurt him. And Santa Cruz like, oh dear, I don't want any more of them. So, but after that, you know, Santa Cruz came into the fight, second half of the fight. If there's any question marks about Frampton, it's always down the stretch he tends to tire. And that's where Santa Cruz has to jump on Frampton early. And he can't allow Frampton to get into. See, Frampton got into a rhythm. He got into a rhythm. Santa Cruz has got to knock Frampton out of that rhythm early. Okay, he's got to knock him out of rhythm, and he can do that. Keys to victory. For Carl Frampton, he can't afford to get complacent in this fight. And I would say that this second fight is a totally different fight to the first fight. I really do. I really think this is going to be a different fight to the first fight. And if Frampton can do it again, brilliant. Potentially fight of the year. If the first fight wasn't, I thought the first fight was fight of the year. I thought, but then hey, Angel Garcia is another Eubank Sr. where the latter has experience to cope with the pressures outside the ring. True. The question will be how the judges score it and where the most money in having the belt. If it is Frampton, he will gain the benefit of close rounds. Rio Cole, let's give him a round of applause, Mr. Rio Cole. Oh, it might be a woman, so I don't know. I've known females to be Rio as well. So round of applause to you if you're male or female, Rio. Welcome to the room. Will I sub to you on YouTube? Yeah, of course I will. Of course. I think there's money in a rematch. I think there's money in the third fight, a trilogy. There's money in the third fight. So it's just where they look at it. Only if the fight goes the distance, Frampton will win, unless Santa Cruz wins the rounds convincingly. Agree. Yeah, I think it's an interesting fight. My thoughts are: can Frampton fight that same fight again? And if that is that same fight enough for the second fight? How much was Santa Cruz and his father being distracted with the father? How much of an influence was that in the first fight? Because you can't fake your dad having cancer. You know, you can say, oh, well, he had injury in the fight and all the rest of it. But your dad having cancer, that's going to have significant effects on your lead up to a fight. And that is where I struggle, because I backed Santa Cruz the first fight. Even though I love Frampton, I backed him the first fight. Oh, I'll come back to that Eubank thing in a minute. In the first fight, I backed Santa Cruz to beat Frampton because of the work rate. And anybody who looked at Frampton and his fight against Hernandez, was it Hernandez? I think it was Hernandez, who dropped him twice in the first round. That fight, and then you look at Santa Cruz, for dang, Frampton's in trouble. And then you saw how Scott Quigg made Frampton look very uncomfortable with pressure. You know, it's just how much Santa Cruz can improve on the first fight, and if Santa Cruz makes those improvements, can Carl stay with him? That's what I want to know. And because of those tangibles, I can't really put a win on this one. You'd think you'd go, I'd lean slightly to Frampton because he was the favorite the first time round. No, because he won the first fight psychologically, but that doesn't mean anything, you know, because second time round, who knows? Eubank would wreck Ward. Yeah, I'm going to come back to that. Oh, shout to Tune Rebirth. Let's give him a shout out, or give him or her a shout out. Good to see you in the room. Do you know what tonight, people? I've got to say, we have got a troll-free zone. Oh, it's so good to have a troll-free zone. Oh my gosh, no trolls, no stupid casual comments. Right, I'm going to come back to the Eubank thing again. I think it's quite hilarious, but Adam Scott says, Frampton, he is a unique product in the market. Irish Caucasian Western fighter. Oh dear. I spoke too soon. Welcome to the room, Gibson. But he's claiming to be a troll. Yeah, Gibson, if you're a troll, be careful, beware. What chance would you give Scott Quigg, who lost a close fight to Frampton last year? Well, one thing, get rid of Joel Gallagher, and maybe Scott Quigg stands a chance. Just wait till I start spamming this chat with swastikas. Oh, great. Soros paid me. You know, sometimes I wonder who these trolls are behind these. I do wonder. It fascinates me who these people are. I mean, I'd love to know who they are, what they do, like during the day. With why do they decide to troll? What passion do they get? What do they get out of trolling? And when they come to my channel and decide to try and troll and they get blocked, how does that make them feel? I'm fascinated. But anyway, I think this guy Gibbs' son is game for a laugh. Eubank needs to leave guys like Ward. He would just dirty up his record. He needs to stay away on his path and concentrate on getting the GGG fight in the future. I agree. Will Ward take the rematch? Who won the first fight? Gibson says, I like you. Okay, that's nice to know. I can't say I like you yet because I don't know what you're going to do in the channel. But as long as you keep respectful, I'm going to like you too. Trolls are incredibly unhappy people who hate their lives. On the subject of trolls, and anybody who knows about my history, trolls. There's a troll recently that got caught out. He was what's trolls? He was abusing Katie Price's son. I think he's disabled, and yeah, he was abusing for years, and then finally got found out, and he lost his job. Good. Eubank Senior creating controversy again. Now he is, but the thing is, he won't pay for it. His son will pay for it, and when his son pays for it, what's he going to say? Thoughts on David Price versus Haye? 50-50, I think. David Price. I tell you, that man is still a dangerous man in the heavyweight division. If David Price lands a right hand on any of the top heavyweights in the world today, it's trouble. If he lands that right hand on Wilder, good night. Okay, who else is there around? Any of the top heavyweights today, if he can land that right hand. Hamer's in the way. Hamer's dangerous. It all depends on what Dave Coldwell's been doing with David Price. And if David Price can come out hungry and take Hamer out of there. I mean, if he could knock Hamer out in the first couple of rounds, wow, what a statement. He would have done what Tyson Fury didn't do and took Hamer out of there. I think Fury dropped Hamer, at the 7th or 8th round or something like that. But I think Price has got the power to stop Hamer, and I still back Price. But if Hamer beats him, then what can I say? Price is not going to look good on ITV if he gets chinned on ITV. So they've been chinned on Box Nation, getting chinned on ITV. You get chinned on Sky as well. I'm not sure. The Tony Thompson fight, that was on Box Nation, wasn't it? So he got chinned on Box Nation. Yeah, he's been chinned on Box Nation. He didn't only get chinned on ITV. So not surprised. MFXZ, yeah, man, you're cool. What about me? Am I not cool? Anyway, Phil Harv, top man. Good to see you in the room. Good to see you in the room. Let's give you a round of applause seeing you in the room. Let's give you a round of applause. Where's my round of applause? I see you across the Twitter universe, and you're always very supportive and retweeting my stuff. So shout out to you, good man, top man. In case you missed it early on, I talked about Huey Fury, and I said that I'm not happy that he's taken a fight against Parker. I would like to see him fight a warm-up fight, a good testing warm-up fight, and see him win that fight of all guns blazing, and then take the Parker fight. I'm not happy that he's taken the fight. I'm not going to be one of these guys who's just going to suck up and say, well, because Peter Fury says it. I'm not happy with it because I think that he needs to put a performance on Parker, a Huey, before he fights Parker, because his last fight was against Fred Cassie, and there were worrying signs in the Fred Cassie fight. So that's my thoughts. Old school. Jim Wilson. Oh no. Bedeye. Hey, Belly, who's printing money. Let's give Bedeye a round of applause as well. That's coming to the room. Nice to see you in the room. So far, we've covered. What have we talked about tonight? We've talked about Frampton, Cruz. We've talked about Selby in his next fight. We've talked about Eubank Jr. We'll go back to the thing again. DJ Slicks, man, gonna give you a round of applause. Good to see you in the room. That's not working. No, I pushed the wrong button there. No, you see, it's not. These sounds are not good, are they? Anyway, give him a round of applause again. My man, DJ Slicks in the room. Just gonna say, on a very separate subject, DJ Slicks, I'm still trying to work out, you know, the old live gameplay thing with Football Manager. Once I get it sorted, I'll be able to do YouTube gaming on the channel as well. It'll be a bit of fun, and you can see my football team and see how they're doing at the moment. Anyway, so I just thought I'd let you know about that. Let's see what people are saying now. Oh, did I give B-Dye a shout out as well? B-Dye, you in the room? Give you a shout out as well. Right. That's everybody in the room I've given a shout out to be fair, I think. The casual market is the only way they care about, which is why we have to put up with this crap. I agree with you, Adam Scott. I agree with you. I have to say, it's been a relief. I don't know if you noticed, I'm not on Twitter as I used to be. You just open yourself up for a lot of garbage. So I'm kind of glad I'm not on that anymore. In that way, I just post links out. I have my own personal Twitter page. If you find it, then great. Yeah, but it's just saturated now with casuals all over the place. So the minute Gennady Golovkin gets beat, the minute Klitschko, Joshua gets beat, once these guys get beat, Kovalev, well, he's got beat now. Once these guys get beat, you know, I think the market kind of calms itself down. So Price was the only guy apart from Vlad to drop Tony Thompson. Serious player. I hope Calder has been improving him. Well, Calder has been doing a lot of talking recently. Let's see him back that up. I know his boy the other night got a good whooping. Jamie McDonald, he got whooped the other night. But there you go. What can I say? DJ Flex, just join the room, bro. Where's my sound of my round of applause? You got it. What's happening, Ingram? All good, brother. All good. Retirement looming for Klitschko? I wouldn't have thought so. I would have thought so. I would have thought so. I think people are overlooking Klitschko based on the Tyson Fury fight, but Joshua can't fight like Tyson Fury. And Joshua can only fight one way in his career, it seems, and he can only fight going forward. What happens when he gets put on the back foot? What happens when he gets hit with a right hand or left hook? If he's getting knocked out in sparring by cruiserweights, who knows if these rumors are true? What happens when he gets nailed on the chin against a superior athlete? I think Klitschko's got better boxing ability, better ring IQ. You know, I think a lot of people are expecting Joshua to go out there and hit Klitschko on the chin and Klitschko fall over. Well, it could happen, but the same thing could happen as Joshua comes forward, he get nailed with a Klitschko punch. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But the other day, Klitschko was, if you'd listened to people before the Tyson Fury fight, and I know a lot of them before the Tyson Fury fight, go back and look at those videos. Klitschko was an all-time great. Klitschko would have beaten Muhammad Ali, he would have beaten Mike Tyson. He was an all-time great. After Tyson Fury beat him, he's an old man. He's finished. He is an older man, but he hasn't taken a lot of punches. He hasn't taken a lot of punch in his career. He doesn't get beaten up a lot. He hasn't been involved in a lot of wars. I don't know. I wouldn't read too much into that Tyson Fury fight. Sly. I don't call him Sky. I call him Sly Sports. Sky have a video with what was your favorite Anthony Joshua moment, and they're asking pundits what. You see, it's this sort of garbage that does boxing. No, they make me lead in the way in boxing. When you've got your when you've got your mates, when you've got your brother boxing and you're commentating on it, it's not on. It's not right. You shouldn't be all your mates boxing. How can you speak unbiasedly about your mates boxing? I mean, it's not right. Sky need to scrap their commentary team. I've said it before. They need to scrap their commentary team. My personal opinion, but there you go. Speed jab, have you become a racist? Because if you've become a racist, speed jab, and guess what? You know what happens, don't you? You get blocked, and when you get blocked, you just never come back to my channel again. And on the basis of I'm having a really good night and I'm enjoying myself, and you decide to make a statement like that, comment, I don't think you even deserve to be on this channel anymore, or the pleasure to be in the channel in my company. So you're just going to get dismissed by me. I'm sorry, Speed Jab. You're trying to ruin my evening, but this is 2017, my friend, and there's a no tolerance to trolls. So if you got any last words to say before your ass gets blocked, because you will get blocked. I mean, like, I've just got a block button here waiting to block your ass. So just, if there's anything you've got to say, you better say it now, because you're getting blocked. I mean, you're getting properly blocked. So there's always one person that wants to come on and ruin it, but hey. Let's see. Ah, he's been told to be blocked. See, everyone's brave behind a camera. They are all behind a keyboard. It's all right. Where is he? I'll just refresh my stream. See, mind me a second while I refresh my stream. It's taking its time to refresh. So I don't know why it's taking its time to refresh, but it is. Yep, I think he's going to get blocked. Where is he? Speed Jab must have thought that he stood a chance of. Yep, that's the end of Speed Jab. We won't be seeing him again. Ever. Period. So let's go through. I don't know. My stream's refreshing at the moment. I don't know what's going on with that. Let me see if I can get it sorted because it's just refreshing and refreshing and refreshing. Yeah, we won't be seeing him again. That's the end of him. So where are we? So we're having a nice chilled out evening, and then we get one idiot that comes in the room. He's blocked. He will not have the pleasure of being in my company again. And I don't think he wants anybody else in there. Back to the Klitschko Joshua thing. Joshua's fought nobody in his career yet. So against Klitschko. What happens if AJ knocks Klitschko out in the first round at Wembley? If he does, great performance. But then people will say Klitschko's an old man. So I don't know. I don't think it happens. I don't think Joshua does knock Klitschko out in the first round. Because I think Klitschko's got better footwork. And if Dominic Brazil was able to make Joshua miss, I'm sure Vladimir Klitschko will too. And you're the Gribson, you're supposedly the troll. He dropped the N-word. There you go. Casual buy shitty pay-per-view. I don't buy pay-per-view. I've got a crack box. Good for you. Good man. I think Klitschko knocks AJ with a left hook like he did Pulev. Could happen. Can't watch a Joshua interview. No personality, no charisma, just a matchroom puppet. Can't wait till he gets KO'd or beat. See? Interesting. It says call 2971. Big fight talk only. Thompson got lucky with those wins over Price. Lightning struck twice. No, I don't think he was lucky because I pointed out in my assessment of David Price, go way back, I actually backed Audley to beat David Price because Audley was a southpaw and I thought that Price was vulnerable to southpaws. He didn't get beat by Audley. He got beat by a southpaw who was a Wildy veteran, beat him twice. The first fight he got beat, which was fair play. I think they overlooked Tony Thompson. The second fight he got beat was he took the rematch when he shouldn't have taken the rematch. He listened to the fans. He listened to people like Steve Bunce. Oh, I think Price, he should get back straight back in the ring. Should never have done that. I thought that was a bad move. Yeah, Frank Maloney who ended up being Kelly Maloney. So yeah, his manager didn't know whether he wanted to be male or female anymore. So there were question marks there with his management. So I think Pricey was badly managed. Badly managed. How do we know this is not a cash out for Joshua? They can make out that he come again and Klitschko gets his belts back. Well, I'll tell you something now about the cash out thing. There's no reason why. No. There's no reason why that isn't a cash out fight. This fight, from what I'm looking at, brings in 45 million. I mean, I've got the interview that I did with Russell Hartley, and they were talking about the figures. If Joshua loses this fight to Klitschko, then they've made the money they've invested back in Joshua anyway, and some on top. Wants to know why Joshua's always wearing headphones around his neck. I don't know. Ask him when you see him. Any rematch clause? Good question. Imagine if Huey schooled Joshua and took all this hype. Imagine, but at the moment, Huey, can you point out a very impressive performance of Huey Fury? Name me one. I love Huey, but he's got to put on a really impressive performance. Says, that fight there, that's the fight that gives you confidence he's going to go on and become world champion. Mikey Garcia versus Bronner would be awesome. Bad Bart's in the room, my man. Bad Bart, how you doing, brother? It's great to see you, man. Will Tyson AJ be made? Mouth. It's a mouth-watering matchup. Yo, I think it's a great matchup. Will it be made? Well, Tyson has to come back first, and when Tyson comes back, he's got to show that he is I know he was the #1 fighter when he retired, but he's got to come back. We need to know what his body's like, what he's like mentally. Has he lost a step? Does he still have the same hunger? Why is he still out the ring now? When does he come back? He was always in and out of love with boxing. The authorities are not going to make it easy for Tyson. They're going to roll out a red carpet for him. So is he going to be ready to deal with the pressures of now being enemy #1 and then making it difficult for Tyson to get his title fights on? So that is the question, how they go about it. Of course, him being on BT is going to be a big seller on BT whenever he comes back. That's some big money that Frank Warren will be making there with Tyson. Yeah, Mr. Speed Jab unfortunately has been blocked. It's a shame because he's come on the channel a lot, but obviously he felt that there was a need to. Why do people? I don't understand. If somebody can work it out for me, please answer me this question. Why do people feel that they can come on the channel, make stupid comments, not expect to get blocked? I mean, do you do it? I'm trying to work out the mentality of these morons. Do they do it at the basis that they'll get me to get mad? Or they do it at the basis that they're going to get a reaction? I mean, do they do it at the basis for fame? Do they do it at the basis for satisfaction? Because you've called me something. You've called me something, a derogatory name. But you've given me power to block you. I've dismissed you from my room. So you've degraded me, or tried to degrade me, and you get dismissed out of room. But that's what you call me. Sounds to me that the idiot in the room is the one that get blocked. Just me. But I don't understand why people do that. Never understood it. Is Ian Dark coming to BT? Great news. Source, please. I don't know if he is, but if he is, what a voice for boxing. Ian Dark commentating on boxing again. I hope they get Ian Dark, and I hope Glenn McCrory teams up with him again. Ian Dark, Glenn McCrory, great stuff. I like Ian Dark. I had an interview set with him a while back. I think he's a great interviewer. Love Ian Dark. I think he's fantastic. Great journalist. Yeah, Dark does. You know what I love about Ian Dark? Him, like John Rawling, gives you a story, builds a story, and gives you a story. He gets you. How do I best describe it without sounding kind of corny? Ian Dark and John Rawling, they're like that. You have to pardon me when I say this. They're like a woman stroking your manhood, really building you up to for a climax. That's what they're like. They're like foreplay, very good foreplay. And then, all due respect, someone like Ronald McIntosh. I love Ronald McIntosh for radio, but not for TV. I think Ronald McIntosh is brilliant for radio. His voice is great. He makes you feel big. He gives me the big fight goosebumps for radio. Rawling, and more so Ian Dark, makes you know it's big fight time. You know it's time to be ready. You know, I like Dave Bontempo. He's exciting. There's a few others as well. The commentary what make the fight sometimes, I tell you. Copendo 9, Copendo 9. The man is in the room. Give the man a round of applause. Great to see you in the room. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. No word or reason to even believe he will do the boxing. Let's hope he does. Stuck between a Grey Goose or vodka tomorrow night. What would you recommend? If you're in the UK, anything that won't make you drunk or make you fall asleep before the Frampton fight. Phil Have says, love what you're doing for boxing, bud. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Barry Jones, Rawling, Dark, Dempsey, Al Bernstein, of course. Best commentators at the moment, in my opinion. Of course, Jim Wilson. Dave Bontempo. I think it's Dave Bontempo. He was the guy that commentated on. Oh, it's not Dave Bontempo. The other guy. He commentated on Ruiz versus Roy Jones Jr. Goose says box. There's a few people in the room. LOL trick question. I think Josh will gas in the later rounds. Jim Wilson, I'm not a drinker, so I wouldn't know if I was tricked or not. If it looks too good to true, then it probably is, which is why I think Joshua gets knocked out by Klitschko. Klitschko beats everyone except Tyson, and by the way, he gave Tyson problems in round 12. Closed the range down, and if you look at rounds 10 to 12, they were the most exciting rounds of the fight. Now, if the fight was to start from round 12, could Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko if the fight were to start from round 10 in the rematch? That was the question I had coming into the rematch with Tyson Fury. Could he repeat what he did? Frampton, we're going to find it if he can repeat or revenge. Sean Elder. Let's give you a shout, Sean. What's going on with the Burns fight? I spoke about it earlier. I don't know much. I think Huey will beat Parker. I hope you're right, because I said before, I interviewed Huey in his first before he had his first pro fight. I interviewed Huey Fury. Check out this channel for Huey Fury's first interview ever was with us, Bayloric Worldwide Television. So I have no bias against Huey Fury. I've got no hatred towards him. I'm just speaking straight words. I don't think he's ready for Joseph Parker personally. And it's not a skill thing. It's not a fitness thing. It's a confidence thing. What fight does Huey Fury going down the barrel, looking at Joseph Parker? What fight can he say? Yeah, well, I had that fight and I had that fight. This is the fight I've got to propel me into this fight with Joseph Parker. He doesn't have that. You know, he doesn't have consistency or continuity, and boxing is about consistency and continuity. I don't think, and it's for health reasons as well. And I state at the top of the show, if it's stress related, the illness he's got, and at the moment he's cured, we don't know if he's going to fly up and at me again as soon as he's in the pressure cooker with Parker. And we don't know mentally where Huey Fury is. We don't know. We know Tyson's mentally very strong. We don't know about Huey Fury. Peter Fury made an interesting point. The best Joshua you saw was Dillian Whyte, and he didn't look elite. True. I agree with that point there. Back to the real people, says Phil Half. Fury over Parker. Agree. Yeah, I just technically better boxer, Huey Fury. Momentum, fight sharpness, mental sharpness, heart, gut check, all those things. Not sure about. Go back and look at the Fred Cassie fight. I wasn't impressed with it. I said that Huey Fury would shut Cassie out with a jab, and he was. And then he got cut, and then Cassie started getting closer and closer, and Huey started looking uncomfortable. And that point there, that's where the question mark is for me, because it kind of felt not good, the ending. The Furies of saying Huey's the real deal. He doesn't look like he's been out of first gear, but I hope he's as good as Tyson. I know. I've heard it. And he's had more time to prepare, I guess, at world level, because he's been sparring with the likes of Cunningham and everyone Tyson was sparring with, Huey was sparring with. And he was doing very well against those guys. But sparring and big fights are two different things. Huey's unbeaten. Breaking news. Okay, breaking news. If it's breaking news, then it needs... it doesn't sound like good news either. Selby's defense is cancelled. Why? Screw that dude, bro. Don't waste your time. Deprived childhood, probably. Well, he's deprived of being on the boxing show ever again with me. So there you go. What do you think of the possibility of Froch versus De Gale? None. Froch, if you didn't already hear at the top of the show, the exclusive I broke, he's taking part in a tough man or strongman competition. So you can forget that happening. There's no possibility. Anything to get Froch out of the commentary box is annoying. Annoying. Box 321. Keep it clean, son. LOL. Let's give you a shout out. Box 321. Boxing 321. Give him a round of applause. Okay. Let's keep going. Thought Daddy was asleep. This is not surprised. Matkin seems a good honest pundit. Yeah, he does. Great show. Keep it real. BT who? BT Sports. Another cracking fight tomorrow is Vargas. Butcher, Mexican Wall. I don't know about that, but thanks for letting me know for that. Parker actually seems to do better against taller fighters too. Uh-oh. Any thoughts on Golden Boy's lawsuit failing against Heyman? Heyman was rumored to offer Golden Boy 100 million. Now, on the back of that, they declined it. And then, you know, Heyman probably offered the guys opportunity to work alongside him. They stuck their nose up and said, who the hell are you, Al Heyman? And Al Heyman went on and did what he did. And all these people are now just proper hating and jealous. And for De La Hoya, he's lost his marriage. He lost the lawsuit. He now has been caught drinking and driving. It's all a slippery road for him. And if I were Canelo, I'd get as far away from Oscar De La Hoya as possible. That's what I think. Good. Do you have a post-fight show? Want to tell you so on. Huey wins for me. Yeah, I'll have a post-fight show. I don't always have post-fight shows, but I will have post-fight shows for big fights. Sound effects are on point tonight, bro. Are they? Well, they pick and choose when they're on point. What do you say, Google? Yeah, exactly. The sound effects need to be worked on. Inconsistent, right? Barros failed medical, positive for hepatitis per source with knowledge of test. What? What? Well, that just Frampton just needs to beat Santa Cruz, and we've got Selby versus Frampton in the summer. There you go. Yes, bro, to confirm Selby's off, Barros failed medical. So there you go. For people who didn't hear the news, via Mr. Jim Wilson, Selby versus Barros is out. It's off, thank goodness. I didn't want to see the fight anyway. He looked terrible. It was a showcase fight for Selby. So now we can look forward to Frampton versus Selby as long as as Frampton beats Santa Cruz. But would you see Santa Cruz versus Selby? That'd be a great fight. I'd back Santa Cruz to beat Selby in that one. DJ Slicks, love the applause too. De La Hoya. No, it's not his name. Did you not get the hint? It's De La Hoya. De La Hoya. That's it. It's his fault. His fault that the Gennady Golovkin fight has not happened. Don't blame it on Canelo. Because when Canelo was in the ring, he wanted to fight against Gennady Golovkin. But Golden Boy, like afterwards, like Oscar saying, what the hell are you doing? You've basically said to millions of people that you want the Gennady Golovkin fight. We don't want that fight. We want to milk you for as much money as possible in these stupid pay-per-view fights and then fight Golovkin in a mega fight. That's what De La Hoya is doing. Selby's been very active. This is bad for him. Well, he needs to be more active. Ingram has post-fight shows until 6 a.m. Best believe, LOL. I'm going to limit those now because now I'm back on the main channel, the Bayloric channel. There's a lot more things we'll be doing. And again, Like I said before, and I alluded to last year, we are in a transition period, and this, for now, is where we're at. Back to the home of where you'll get interviews, features, and all the rest of it, right here on this channel. Mikey Garcia looks super weight drained. Does he? If he looks super weight drained, he'll rehydrate within 24 hours. Zlatan is the natural lightweight coming in here, and he'll probably come up to light welterweight on the night. I want to know how Mikey Garcia reacts when Zlatan hits him with that left hand. That's the key point for me. If Canelo doesn't fight Gennady Golovkin after Chavez, who are the viable options in your opinion? Charlo, moving up, isn't he? So Charlo might be a good fight to have. Canelo's a warrior. De La Hoya's a pussyfooting around. How decisive will the weight out for Chavez be for his fight versus Canelo? This is a guy that generally doesn't fight at his weight. This is Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And there must be a reason for that. I think Chavez has never been on point for weight in his fights. He's always blown up in fights. But now you've got Canelo at Canelo weight versus Chavez Jr. It's quite hypocritical of Canelo to tell people that they can't come in over a certain weight when he does it in all his fights. So they're just as bad as one another. But I hope Chavez stays on point. I hope Chavez stays fit. I hope Chavez stays strong. And it'd be funny if Chavez beat Canelo. I'd laugh, to be honest. Ingram, are you a fan of the Fight Night series on PlayStation? Of course I am. I interviewed and I've interviewed the man, Mikey Mayweather. He was unbeaten in, God knows, 200, 300 fights. The #1 pound-for-pound fighter on PlayStation. Check out the interviews again on Bayloric Worldwide Television. He now has gone into the tech industry. Vizrec, check out his interview recently I did on Bayloric Worldwide Television Live, and we talked about his new app, which is visual recognition, which is basically you'd have his smartphone, and while you're watching a movie, you can just click your mobile phone onto the screen, and you'll be able to basically recognize who that person is on the screen and take you to YouTube and Wikipedia about who the person is. A great app that he's designing now. He was king of the PlayStation and Xbox world. Now he's looking to be a king of the tech world. So there's your answer there. Canelo has clearly ducked Triple G thus far. Well, clearly. Or was that Oscar De La Hoya? Just to let you know, Herrera is in Chavez's corner. I think he will bring the best out of him, though. And his father will help too. Thoughts? Well, I think if that was the case, I think I would like to. Did Chavez have this change of trainer before this big fight? If so, then it's good to see. If not, and they just put him in for a big fight, it'll be interesting to see what he does in a big fight. Because if you bring a trainer in for one fight, I like to see a trainer in 3 or 4 fights before a big fight. So, because then you know you're ironing out issues. You listen to that one trainer now. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Retirement payday for Chavez. He will definitely make weight. Okay. DJ Slicks, will we get a new fight night though? UFC took over the game as EA Sports don't want to invest. Well, for those who are interested, there's a game called World Boxing Manager on Steam. If you're interested, check that out. World Boxing Manager. It's come out. I think it's been out about 4 or 5 months now. It's more of a managerial game, but check it out anyway. More of a fight for the Mexican fans. Okay, thank you for that. Anyone but Jim the Jock. Oh, this is reckless boxing. Reckless boxing. Everyone's a reckless boxer. Arm punches. Good evening to One Can Van Dam. Let's give you a round of applause. Nice. You know, the thing is, why is it? Uh-oh, guess who's in the room? Beverly O'Neill. Nice to see you in the room, Beverly. The girl, Billy Joe boxing. Yes, indeed. We've covered a long time back. So you have to reel back. We've been on since 10 p.m. Luis Ortiz looks really old these days and slowed down. I'm good, Beverly. Good to see you in the room. If he fights Big Baby Miller, what does it prove? He beat a big mouth up. Big Baby Miller has proven nothing in the heavyweight division. So I want to see Luis Ortiz fight Ustinov or get in line to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. In fact, I think he should fight Wilder. I think Luis Ortiz should fight Deontay Wilder. That fight won't happen. And Bermane Stivern's going to end up being #1 contender. Mark my words. Stiverne will be #1 contender. And then that will force Deontay to have to fight Stiverne again. So there you have that. Eubank news. Spoke about Eubank earlier as well. Oh, now, here's a question. You've been at work, Beverly? Okay. Now, we've got to confirm this, Beverly. I know you said you love me and you care for me and all the rest of it. Where are you from? Are you in Europe? Are you in England? Are you in Europe? Are you in the UK? Are you in Ireland? Are you in the Caribbean? Are you in America? I want to know where the love is coming from. Really want to know. So yeah, we talked about it earlier. I want to see Stiverne rematch, but concerned that Stiverne's going to retire. I can assure you Stiverne won't retire. I spoke to Bermane up to 2 days ago. He won't retire. He's going to be in the #1 spot. So they're going to have to fight. You're from Mansfield Town. Oh, okay. Beverly. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate that. If it's, I tell you, if it's Washington, I predicted Washington. I swear, if Wilder goes to the Washington fight, it's unacceptable. Oh yeah, let me go back to what DJ Slick was saying. Ingram, what's your 3 top fights you hope to see this year? Not ones that have already been agreed. Wilder versus Stiverne 2. It's going to happen. Errol Spence versus anybody of real note. Joe Saunders versus Gennady Golovkin. Thurman or Garcia versus Pacquiao. Liam Walsh in a world title fight. Callum Smith in a world title fight and get absolutely smashed by Darrell. Yeah. My boy Rashidi Ellis coming of age, and everybody who doesn't know about Rashidi Ellis, check him out on the channel. I've got a lot of time for my boy Rashidi Ellis. We're talking about him now. We're not bandwagon hoppers. Rashidi Ellis is the truth. Check him out. He was the best welterweight in America, best amateur. So check him out. Madness, they continue to allow Ortiz to continue fighting. Reminds me of the Undertaker. Which Ortiz are we talking about? Ortiz. Luis Ortiz needs to fight somebody. He needs to fight a world champion. Oh, I want to feature Shannon Briggs. When is Shannon Briggs fighting for the world title anyway? Carl Froch, what about him? He didn't look in great shape in the Povetkin weigh-in. Okay, he looked okay. Fury versus Wilder. Meet him at DTD Poker. Okay. Mr. P. O'Neill. Hello. Thanks for answering. No problems. You look hot. Could be the heat in the room. Can I have your number? Can you have my number? Can you have my number? Let me think about that. Crawford versus Pacquiao. They're going to sell. Once they're finished with Pacquiao, they'll bring him in. Oh, God. Pacquiao fight no one with a pulse until Crawford steps up in weight. We know that's going to happen. Eggington versus Paulie. Now, I heard it was meant to be Eggington versus Carson Jones. Carson Jones is too damn dangerous. So they swerved it. And they took the English or the UK Margarito versus Malignaggi. How does that fight go? Well, Malignaggi's not got punching power. He's got a good jab. He's got no punching power. So I expect Eggington to just walk down Malignaggi. That's the hope. Brook versus Spence. Who wins? Hassam in the room. Let's give you a shout, Hassam. Welcome to the room. Who wins the fight? It's a good point. Good question. Spence already. I don't jump in the bandwagon. And I do have to put this in because you're a black fighter. Doesn't mean because I'm black, I'm supporting you. I support you because you fight. I don't support you because you're the color of your skin. I support you because you can fight. In my opinion, Errol Spence has been highly overrated at this point in time. He beat Algieri, but the way he beat Algieri was because he's a natural light middleweight. This is a guy that's gone down in weight, come down in weight in the welterweight division to fight. So for me, he'll have to wait. I'm on a live show. Sorry, I've got a visitor, but I'm not cutting it because I'm with you guys and girls. Where was I? So Spence's win against Algieri looks fantastic because both guys in Pacquiao and Khan started their weights, the fight at lighter weights. Look where Pacquiao started his career from. Look where Khan started his career from. Look where Spence started his career from. Spence, a natural light middleweight or even middleweight, boiling down to welterweight. Okay, so of course he's the natural guy is going to walk straight through Algieri. Then he fought Bundu, and I'm highly critical of the Bundu fight because he got nailed with punches, a lot of punches, and if he was fighting a big puncher, probably could have got knocked out. Pulled straight back from punches. I'm not a big fan of Errol Spence at this point in time. He's got a lot of hype around what he did in the gym with Adrian Broner, much smaller guy. Mayweather, much smaller guy. Okay, that's what he's made his name off. So for me, as for Kell Brook, what is left of Kell Brook? I mean, I never was a big fan on the mentality of Kell Brook, mental state. He held it together against Porter, but I didn't think he was that convincing against Porter. He fights Gennady Golovkin, gets a broken orbital bone. What happens when he gets hit here again? How does he respond to those things? He's no longer an unbeaten fighter, so he doesn't have that I'm an unbeaten fighter to pull on now. So how does he fight Kell? That's the question. So I don't know how the fight goes. Thoughts on two Golovkin, Lemieux versus Stevens. Good fight. It's a good fight. Another great fight, Ingram, would be Eubank versus Jamie Cox. One of them is not going to go home that night, sadly. I got BMW. Are you a Gypsy Beverly? Is O'Hara Davis is British answer to Broner? I don't know. He's a Hackney boy, so I can't really speak badly of a Hackney boy. And I knew about O'Hara Davis years ago. Apollo J. Jackson always kept telling me about. And if you're watching today, Apollo, shout out to you. Because you were the man that told me about O'Hara Davis years and years ago. He said O'Hara Davis will make it big in British boxing. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, the way he talks, the way he behaves. But, hey, if you can back it up, then fine. If you can't back it up, he's going to have some painful nights ahead of him. Why has Khan gone made that sex thing? You heard that? Yeah, I broke the story about it on the channel. It happened a long time ago. Block this spam artist. I love you. I love you too, Beverly. Respect, bro. Dealing with adversity with such calmness. Do you think UFC and boxing work? For 3 rounds, they do. I want McGregor, Floyd Mayweather to fight. I really want them to fight, and I want Floyd Mayweather to drive that straight right hand down McGregor's throat. I really do, because McGregor hasn't fought 12 rounds. He's only fought 3 rounds against people that can't box, and the first guy that can lay hands on him and can actually box a bit knocked him out. This guy has been knocked out already in his own sport. Damn. Thoughts on Cotto Kirkland next month? None whatsoever. I couldn't care less about it. And let's be honest, I don't care about Cotto and Kirkland. Who's that? That's delightful. I'm live, and they didn't ring me for an appointment. I'm live, and I've got fans here, haven't I? Boxing fans. I can't leave because somebody's knocked my door, can I? No, exactly. So, no, sorry, they'll have to come back. I'm in the middle of a live show. I'm not leaving. What I don't get is why Khan went on GMTV, kind of further publicity to what he did. I guess he felt he had to justify himself or put it right somehow or the other. And it might not have been Khan that decided to do it. It might have been his wife behind it. You don't know with these things. You really don't. Floyd has soft hands. He wouldn't KO Conor. Well, Conor's not got the greatest chin. You saw that in the Diaz fight. Favorite boxing announcer of all time, Buffer or Jimmy Lennon Jr. I've got to say Jimmy Lennon. I've got to say Michael Buffer, because he gave Bayloric TV Boxing Channel our opening. So I met Michael Buffer. I interviewed Michael Buffer. He's a great man, a great guy. And I've got to go Michael Buffer. I've got to be biased because he gave Bayloric TV an opening. So shout out to Michael Buffer. Does Amir Khan need surgery on his chin? Well, that's an interesting one, because I think, look at the Marcus Maidana fight. Marcus Maidana can crack, yeah, and took some blows there. So, Adonis Stevenson versus Joe Smith in April. Well, it's one thing. I said that Joe Smith had every chance in the world to knock Hopkins out, but Joe Smith versus Adonis Stevenson, that's a totally different kettle of fish. You're not fighting one of the best pound for pound fighters of all time. It's different. So whilst you can walk down Hopkins, who can't punch for shit, light heavyweight, he's now punching. He's facing the #1 guy when it comes to punching power. And I don't think Joe Smith has faced anything like that. If he can take the power, and he punches himself, Joe Smith, which makes a great fight. Both guys can punch. If Joe Smith is going to beat Stevenson, he's going to put Stevenson on the back foot. Stevenson cannot fight off the back foot. I really don't think he can. I think he's very front foot happy. So he's going to put Stevenson on the back foot. And Stevenson's getting older. So there we go. Oh, my guests have left. They're knocking at my door at 11:45 or 12 o'clock at night while I'm doing a live show. I'm sorry, I'm not going to stop my conversation with you to attend to the door. So that won't be happening anymore. So I'm back with you guys. Will Bellew, James Doe, will Bellew get past 3 rounds? No, he won't. And shout out to James Doe. Let's give him a quick shout out there. Welcome to the room. Eubank or DeGale? They both need a trainer. We love you, bruv. Ultimate loyalty. Bebetov versus Barrera. What's the height on Bebetov? He got dropped by a journeyman called something Page. Yeah, he can punch though. I can't remember Bebetov. I couldn't call him Bebetov, but that's not his name. He's dangerous. Russell Hartley gave me the whole lowdown on this guy. He's a dangerous guy. Dangerous man. We'll see. Saying we didn't see Adonis versus Kovalev. That's a shame. What kind of time is it to turn up at someone's house? Not the boys wanting to smoke, is it? No, I don't smoke. And no, not like that. I've got a good friend that lives in Ireland. One of my few friends in Ireland. When I say my few friends, I don't get out much, as you've probably gathered. What I mean, I don't get out much. I don't go out to socialize much because I'm quite happy with the people I've got in my life. Yeah, I'm a boring old fart, aren't I? Yeah, but no, I just you come round. So you come round whenever you want to, and 9 times out of 10, that's great. But just the 10th time out of 10, it just didn't work out. And I really did need to get a lift with him in the morning. Oh, I'll tell you something very interesting here, just for a second. I was involved in an accident. I got hit by a car last week, Friday. I had my little boy. I was taking him across the road outside the school, and the car stopped, waited for me to go across the road, and they sped up and hit me. So yeah, I need to go to the hospital and get it sorted out. So just thought I'd let you know that. So I'm very grateful to be here today. I might not have been here today, so I'm very grateful. Just want to let you know that as well. Bad Bat says the fans need you. Did Lennox Lewis duck for Tali rematch? He had every reason to. Favorite commentators of all time? Ian Darke is up there for me. Yep, Ian Darke is definitely up there. Ingram, if there's one fighter you'd like to see make a comeback, who would you choose? One fighter. Gerald McLennan. If Gerald McLennan was fit and healthy, I'd want him to come back. Unfulfilled career. Superb puncher. Good boxing ability. Great chin. Vicious. Gerald McLennan. Do I know Kyan? Khan, where does he go? Brook fight. Who does he box? Joe Joyce. I know Joe Joyce, yes. I think Bibitov is a good front foot fighter. Put him on the back foot and you expose him, in my opinion, so far. He beat Kovalev in the amateurs. I come your house. You said you lived in the UK. I live in Ireland. Bit difficult. What's your favourite current boxer? Favourite current boxer? Favourite? I can't say favourite. I don't have a favourite fighter. I have fighters that I like to watch. Favourite? No favourite fighter. Because there's no fighter today that outstandingly stands out and says, like, yeah, above all, you. They're just fighters I like. I love to see Andre Ward fight, believe it or not. I like to see Regendale fight, but for skill level, not for... I don't watch to be entertained by these guys like Ward. I like guys... I like two things. If I'm watching to learn and study the sport, someone like Andre Ward. If I'm wanting excitement, just excitement, I'm saying it's maybe something like a Golovkin or anyone who's big punching and gets guys out there quickly. No, I don't mind watching that. Kovalev. But I don't know, a favourite fighter? I can't say I got a favourite fighter. It's pretty difficult because my guy was Sugar Ray Robinson, and it's not just what he did in the ring; it's what he did outside the ring as well. So there's a real story to Sugar Ray Robinson if you know the story of him. He's a great inspiration to my life anyway. Quinlan, I felt sorry for Quinlan. He just looked out of sorts. He just looked. I mean, he was all right because he had little quick, sharp comments, and it was quite funny at moments. He was quite funny, Quinlan. I was very interested more to see what these things were he did in his past he didn't want to talk about. I'd like to know more about that. And I don't know why nobody chased them about it. I do know in Australia they are, particularly towards the Aboriginal race, very racist. I've seen in Australia them kick and spit at Aboriginals. Been on the bus. I was in Melbourne, 2009. I saw this, and it was a horrible experience. I was on a bus. I was horrified watching the way they spat and kicked at them. And again, it was horrible, horrible, horrible. They hit you. Lennox didn't duck rematch, man. Come on. He was ready to retire. Well, yeah, he ducked out. He didn't want to have anything to do. He retired. I really want to see Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson. Shame it didn't happen. Who remembers the hype around that? I did. I know Ireland. I go Cork next month. Really? That's nice to know. It's interesting. Ward is the best. Watched the documentary on Jerome McLennan this week. So sad. His life was literally had been a nightmare ever since that night. He was only 28 pound for pound. TBE, Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather? Sugar Robinson. How good is AJ? Don't know. Ask Klitschko. McLennan, Jerome, and Nigel Benn. That was some fight. I agree. When is Tim Bradley fighting? That's a very good question. Corporate Tim, I call him. Don't know. Does he need to fight? Tim Bradley, Errol Spence. Another fight. Tim Bradley, not a natural welterweight again. I want to see him against Errol Spence, to be honest. Does anyone care about Bradley's next fight? No. You live in Cork? No, I don't live in Cork. Who wins the rematch from Billy Joe Saunders and Eubank Jr.? Well, honestly, tell me, has he improved? How much has Eubank Jr. improved since the last Billy Joe Saunders fight? I don't know. So, I think, unless we've got any other pressing questions to ask, what happened to Derek Alexander? Oh, he's maybe making some comeback, I heard. I don't know. I really don't know. So, thoughts on Lomachenko? Is he overrated? No, he's highly skilled. Highly skilled. Alexander Usyk, of course, I love. And I love him more so because we've got exclusive interviews with him and also spoke to James Bashir, and he's a good guy. I like Alexander Usyk. I think Lomachenko's a great fighter. Rigo or Lomachenko? Lomachenko is the heavier guy, but I'd love to see them in the same weight category. How that fight would go. I think it'd be a great fight. I need help. Help me. What do you need help with, Beverly? How can I help you? My son is on drugs. Okay. Right. How can I help you with that? How do you think I can help you? Usyk should aim to be undisputed. I'd love to see that. Feel very sorry for Lee Selby. Shout out to Dave Brown. Let's give Dave Brown a shout in the room. Text crack. Okay. Block this trolling room. Oh, I can't stand Lampley these days. See. I'll see. Bang, bang, bang. Left hand from Pacquiao. Left hand from Pacquiao. Oh, Pacquiao. 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 Bang, Pacquiao. Yes, Jim Lampley. He is the ultimate fanboy's guide to watching Manny Pacquiao fight. He's extreme. And then when Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez, he was crying. But on the flip side of that, I've heard some very positive things about Jim Lampley. Check out the interview I did with Tony Harrison, who's got a fight coming up. And Tony Harrison said that Jim Lampley is a really nice dude. Took him in when Emmanuel Stewart passed away, took him into his house, into his home, and he's got a reputation of looking after fighters. So all the bang bang and Pacquiao stuff, well, that can be forgiven for the stuff I hear about Jim Lampley. He's meant to be a top man. So when you hear a story like that, of course, I've got to give a shout out to Jim Lampley. Gervonta Davis or Liam Walsh? Don't know. I wish Gervonta Davis all the best. I don't like the hype they're putting around Gervonta Davis. Really don't. They're setting this guy up to fall real quick. GRENADA is one of the best fighters. Shame they froze him out. Yep. Black Blue, please find below the surface my brother and his wife. What football team do you support, fella? Well, the football team that does the same thing every year without much change. Arsenal, Wenger, and Arsenal. I am not going to say that we're going to win the league. Josh Taylor or Hara Davis? Josh Taylor. I like Josh Taylor. I like one doing. Linares versus Crawler. I'm going with Linares again. Sorry. I think Linares is a top fighter. I'm baffled. You know, YouTube baffles me. The longer I'm on, the more views, the more people that seem to come on the channel. It baffles me. Right. I think that's about it, people. I think I've finished saying what I've got to say. That's a lot of stuff we had to cover there, but I've covered it. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, share the videos. Question I've got to ask. What is going on with my comments in the comment section? Where are all the comments? Is Sanchez and also leaving us in the summer, England? What do you think? I wouldn't be surprised because Arsenal is nothing more than an academy. What I mean by that is we get our players up to world-class level and then we sell them off to the highest bidder. Always the case, isn't it? I heard that Wiltshire is on his way out as well, but then, you know. Dave Brown says, first time I've been on your channel, big up. Thank you very much. Post-fight show for Frampton, of course. Of course, of course. What do I think is the most important thing? Spurs to finish above you this season, mate. We've heard it before. Spurs never finish above us this season. Not happening. Please interview Abel if you can get exclusive about Billy Joe Saunders, Gennady Golovkin. I will do. Much better than IFL. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Well, as I box, I was. Hatman Strikes Back. That's my boy, Hatman. I love my boy, Hatman. By the way, don't forget to check out Truth and Facts Boxing. My man Bo Bland, check him out. Got some real good stuff there. Got to find out what my boys from Box Talk are doing. I haven't seen them recently. I don't know what's going on with them. Yep, I will do a post-fight show of Frampton. It's a big fight. Got to do a post-fight show. Better looking than Coogan. Oh dear. Oh my gosh. Spurs can't finish above Arsenal. That's why Gareth bailed out. Oh dear. Terrible. Listen, my cousin used to play for Spurs. It's well documented in my cousin's Defoe. He could have played for Arsenal, you know, before he went to Tottenham. I bet you didn't know that. And he was on a free transfer from West Ham to Arsenal. I bet you didn't even know that. It was him and Paul Robinson. Good old Arsenal. He knows how to pick a good player. He knows how to pick a good player, doesn't he? He knows how to pick a good player. Flipping Bentner. Oh dear. Let's stop right here. Yes, of course. Shout out to Defoe. Dejan Garcia, I think I spoke to this before and I broke it down. Spurs legend Defoe. Well, yeah. West Ham, Charlton, Forest Gate. Shout out. I'm gonna give Forest Gate a shout out to those who know Forest Gate. Shout out to Forest Gate. Shout out to Hackney. Being a Stokey boy. Shout out to Stoke Newington. And shout out to Chantal Cameron was in the UK recently. She was in Hackney, in Shoreditch. Grew up there as a young boy, so a very young boy. The shout out to Chantal Cameron. We'll probably get her back on the show soon. I think I'm done. Did I break down Thurman Danny? No, I'll do that on a separate one. Jeremy Kyle, you love him? No, don't love him. I think. How am I doing? I'm doing well. Shout out to Woolwich. Yeah, I will do a shout out to Woolwich. Shout out to the Woolwich Ferry. I like that ferry. And I like the town centre, actually. It's quite decent. I'm okay, Beverly. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm happy to be live and well. Right. It's time to cut out. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Pat Butcher or Peggy Mitchell. Pat Butcher. I'm going Pat Butcher. And if you give me Phil or Grant, I'll always take Grant. I'm out of here. Have a good night. And I'll see you soon. See you tomorrow night.